are you being disrespectful to this court?
It was the moment a field trip to a Detroit courtroom turned into a scared straight lesson for a Michigan teen.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time and put you in the back, understood?
A young girl ending up in a jumpsuit and handcuffs after falling asleep in front of 36th District Court Judge Kenneth King. A live stream of that court hearing was recorded and then broadcast by local news outlets.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court. And quite frankly, I don't like your attitude.
Tonight, that judge has been removed from his criminal case docket as he undergoes necessary training, according to a statement from the court's chief judge. But the teen's mother says the experience traumatized her daughter.
Yes, she was having trouble sleeping, eating, thinking about, why did the judge do that to her? Could she have done better?
The 15-year-old was in King's Court as part of a visit organized by nonprofit The Greening of Detroit.
You're old enough to know better. What is your problem?
I apologize.
At one point, the judge is heard threatening her with time in juvenile detention before releasing her.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
The mom telling NBC News they don't have a permanent address and that the pair got in late on the night before the incident.
She didn't disrespect the court or Your Honor in the courtroom. Falling asleep is not a crime.
King telling the AP before he was sidelined, quote, "I wanted this to look and feel very real."
Hello, villagers. Welcome back to another video here in Stacy's Random POV. And before I get to it, I just want to say, guys, that everything I'm about to say in this video is just my opinion only. I will be looking out for your comments so I can see your opinion about this matter. And I'm pretty sure you guys already heard of this judge. This is Judge Kenneth King from Detroit, Michigan. As you guys can see, Charlamagne the God gave him Donkey of the Day a couple of days ago, and it's specifically because of this case that I'm about to talk to you guys about. And honestly, there is nothing to be said that haven't been said about this case. But one thing I'm going to add about this situation, well, a few things I'm going to add about this situation, is that I am sick and tired of all of the assumptions people have when it comes to black people and black children. And I get it. I completely understand. It takes a village, right? But it's also how people treat you in said village. And one thing we can always say, that when it comes to black people who are in a position of power, they're the first one to make dirty and nasty assumptions when it comes to other black people. And most of the time, they're the ones participating the most in the detriment and the hurt and the trauma that stays being caused within our black children. And I understand him trying to teach her a lesson, but he could have done it way, way better. And then later on in the video, because you guys already know that I will be posting other people's reaction and other news clips. Later on, he says he wants to be a mentor to her. Sir, you're not getting anywhere near my child ever again. So you mentoring my child, that opportunity has fled the window, because there were so many ways that you could have gotten to the bottom of what's wrong with that little girl. This girl don't know you from a lick of paint. You don't know this little girl from a lick of paint. But here you are jumping to conclusions and making assumptions based on her skin color. And then there's another white woman that I'm going to be putting later on in this video. And after she's done talking, I'm also going to put my opinion right after hers, because she herself is a piece. But you will hear what she has to say. But now, back to this whole situation with this young lady. I am sick and tired of people making assumptions of our children based on their skin color. They think they're fatherless, that they have no home training, that they are just the lowest of the low, vagabonds. And I am sick of it, because I can assure you, if this little girl was white, she would not be in that situation. He would have been treated with the most utmost respect, because that is how a lot of our black men and black people, okay, that is how they do. They treat us extra worse and then act like they were doing it to our betterment, when in reality they were doing it to mock us, because in their mind they think we are lower than a regular white person. And I am sick of this bullshit. I am beyond sick of it, as you guys can tell in my tone. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys hear it. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you guys haven't already. I don't want to leave in such a nasty, loud tone, so I'm just gonna I just reheard it and calm down, because guys, I feel extremely strong about this situation, because it's unnecessary, and this has happened way too much. When are we gonna stand up and say enough is enough? Because I'm there already. I've had enough of this mess. Well, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and play other people's opinions, and I'm gonna come back and then end my commentary, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
That mom says she was horrified to see her daughter in handcuffs, and says Judge King didn't have the full story.
Would you want someone to treat your child like that? Would you even treat your child like that if he fell asleep in the courtroom?
Latoria Hill is a single mother of 2 children, including her oldest daughter, Eva Goodman. She signed her up for a summer program with the Greening of Detroit nonprofit to keep her busy. What was supposed to be an educational field trip to 36th District Court Tuesday turned into a traumatizing experience for both of them. Judge Kenneth King, not liking Eva's attitude and seeing her falling asleep, placing her in handcuffs and a jail uniform.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
Latoria says Eva was falling asleep because the family does not have a permanent residence at the moment. They're just trying to make ends meet.
To belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends, to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she could sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was tired.
We spoke to Judge King Tuesday, who stands by his actions to discipline the child after showing him, quote, attitude.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids to make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
You didn't scare nobody straight. You made a parent upset. You scared my child. She was nervous, didn't even know how to act. She'd never been inside no courtroom.
Latoria, frustrated with how this was all handled, removed Eva from the summer program and stands up for her daughter now after she couldn't stand up for her in that courtroom.
And my baby been struggling, and she been held on tight. She been going to school. She get good grades. She don't give me no problems.
Judge King has offered to mentor the girl. The family says they are not interested. In Detroit, I'm Rudolph Sinaida, 7 News Detroit. I spoke to Judge Kenneth King. He stands by what he did, placing a 16-year-old in handcuffs after she was allegedly misbehaving on a field trip in his courtroom.
One thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
What started out as an informational field trip with the Greening of Detroit nonprofit Tuesday to the 36th District Court in front of Judge King.
This is the 36th District Court for the city of Detroit. We do just about everything that happens in the city of Detroit.
Quickly turned into Judge King getting visibly agitated over a sleeping student in his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood?
Judge King had her removed from the courtroom, but he told me that didn't fix her, quote, attitude. And that's when he pulled out the jail uniform and handcuffs.
That's not something that normally happens, but I felt compelled to do it because I didn't like the child's attitude.
King says he was trying to teach the teenager a lesson on behavior and respect in court.
I haven't been disrespected like that in a very long time.
He then threatened the girl with jail time.
I'm going to go to sleep tonight while you're sitting in the juvenile detention facility.
Was I really going to do that? Probably not. Could I have? Probably so. But that's not
It's
what I want to do to a
giving
kid who's there
uppity
on a field trip.
Negro.
His methods
It's
on teaching the
giving
youth
uppity
now raising questions
Negro.
within the legal community. Larry Dubin, a former attorney with a background in legal ethics and now a law professor, making his concerns heard.
Just totally inappropriate. There were so many other ways in which to have helped that young girl learn. I have never seen anything quite like what I saw that took place in the courtroom.
The nonprofit running the field trip tells me in a statement, quote,
Exactly.
"Although the judge
It's
was trying to
extremely
teach a lesson of
inappropriate, and I
respect,
think
his
the
methods were
mother should
unacceptable.
sue
The young
the
lady was traumatized by
nonprofit,
judge's
the court,
unnecessary
and the judge.
disciplinary
They
treatment
all
in
need to be
school.
sued.
The judge
She
standing
should get
by
a
his
great
methods, though, saying
lawyer
it was all
because
just to
how
help
her
children
daughter was
convene in
treated,
this
her
courtroom.
First Amendment, her Second Amendment,
So that was
all
my
of her
own version
amendments
of
were
scared straight.
violated.
And Judge King
And this
tells me that he has
woman
been in contact with the
this
girl's
young
parents,
woman
that he does hope
needs
to
to be
mentor her. In
protected.
Detroit, I'm Rudolph Snyder, 7 News, Detroit.
All right, thank you. Now the world has seen this video and about half of y'all have tagged me in it, so here is my take on it. I'm gonna start this off by saying two very simple things. The first thing is that I am in no way, shape, or form saying that what happened in this case should have happened. Now, I'm not saying that or saying I agree with it in any shape or form. And number two, you should always know there's two sides to every story. Technically three, right? His side, her side, and the truth. A quick recap of what happened was there was a group of high school students that came to view the courtroom. I guess one student kept falling asleep even after the judge told her, if you fall asleep again, you're going to be put in the back, which is AKA lockup. And then she did fall asleep again, and that's where she went. I'm going to very strongly say this, that the teachers or the supervisors of this trip, those are the ones who failed that young lady to begin with. Because at the end of the day, after you hear a judge say out loud to everybody, if you fall asleep again in my court, you're going to go to the back. Why did they not have her leave the courtroom, right? To protect her. They failed in protecting her, all right? I'm just saying that's a piece to this, but I want to make it very clear that, in my opinion, those teachers and supervisors failed to protect that young girl. They also did so because when she was put in the back, nobody called anybody. Nobody called the school to tell them what was going on, try to figure out lawyers or anything like that. They just sat there. They didn't do anything about it. And that's another issue. Now, when I first saw this, I started off like everybody else, right? I was like, oh my gosh, what about her home life? You don't know what it's like. Like, what if she was just so tired because she couldn't sleep because either she had to work to help, bring in income, or she just doesn't have anywhere to sleep, stuff like that, right? Like, that's how I originally started out. But then I went back and watched the entire hearing, the entire interaction happen. And I can't say that what he did was completely off kilter. I can't say that. Further, when she was standing in front of the judge in jail garb and in handcuffs, which that's beyond me, honestly. But when she was standing in front of the judge and he was, explaining how serious this was and how she was being disrespectful, she's laughing. She's playing around with the handcuffs. When he's, she goes, the attorney that was, trying to represent her tells her, like, to apologize. She just, well, I'm sorry, I guess. What I mean? Like, it wasn't sincere, and it wasn't like she was taking it serious at all. And then if you continue watching the entire time, like, she's not taking it serious at all. She's walking all around, leaning against, like, the bar right here. And yes, my head is here because I'm not revealing her face or anything like that. And it is blurred out, thank God. But anyways, and then the judge asked the students, he's like, I want to vote. I want to, who in here thinks I should show her some deference and, kind of let this be the learning lessons. Out of the whole group, it was like only 6 or 7 hands raised. And then the other hands raised said that she should have to spend some time in lockup. Of course, they're going to say some stuff like that, right? But then he asked the supervisor, he's like, tell me about this young girl, right? And and each of them stands up and says something along the lines like, oh, she's very respectful. This is out of character, da, 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 da. All the students start laughing and say, Judge, you need to put these teachers under oath because they're lying. I was like, oh my gosh. But that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, this story that is circulated is showing you literally the smallest pieces and not showing you what actually happened in that courtroom. Again, I am not saying that I agree with...
Okay, so I'm just going to start talking from here. This is the dumb bitch that I was talking about. Regardless of what those other teenagers say, regardless of what the supervisors or whoever says, right? That is still a teenager girl. Of course she's gonna laugh and giggle at everything. When I was 15, I love giggling and snickering at everything. That's what 15-year-olds do. And then the fact that he had to ask other teenagers, that to me tells me that he embarrassed her. That judge did everything he did to embarrass this young black girl. He was not doing it to help her. He was doing it to ostracize her from a group. And then the worst thing is, this was not a school trip. It was not a school trip. Okay? Let's get that right. You don't know what people are going through in their life. The judge got frustrated because he wasn't getting the ass kissing and the ass licking that he's used to getting from other black people in his family and from some of his colleagues. Because I'm pretty sure none of his bosses kisses his ass because he is power hungry. Okay, once a lame, always a lame. If you cannot have a 15-year-old girl, if you don't know how to handle a 15-year-old girl, then you are a fucking lame. There is so many ways that you can call out and get a 15-year-old girl to respect you and to react to you. Granted, not all 15-year-olds are built the same. I completely understand that. I'm not naive like that. However, there is no way that once you have already taught a 15-year-old young lady, if you're an adult, you should know how to get them to respond to you. You should know how to get a 15-year-old to respond to you. But he's a fucking lame. Excuse my French. Actually, matter of fact, don't excuse my French. And that's what pissed me off about this whole situation, about this white woman's fucking take. Her attitude is disgusting. I didn't like the way she spoke. And she need to bring it down a notch. Because she's acting as if this is something that happened to a fucking bunch of kids in a private school. These are at-risk children who most of them have nowhere to stay. So let's be honest, let's be real. This judge has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's crashing out, he's stripping, and he's power hungry. And that's why he felt like he had to make an example out of that black girl. Because like always, black girls are always the ones that are least protected in this country. And I am tired of this, guys. This woman is condescending. She is triggering me. And she's just pathetic. Because she knows damn well if this was a white child, she wouldn't have that ridiculous smile in her ridiculous face right now. And I am sick of it. I'm sick of having all these white people and these COON black men and black women making decisions for us just because they're in a position of fucking power. I'm tired of it. I'm so ready for us to take back our power as people. Because these people are not good for us. And when we figure this out, the better we will be. But here's the rest of the commentary, you guys. Please, I'm sorry for all the screaming and all of my aggravation. But this here, it was completely warranted. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Don't forget to subscribe so you can become a member of my village. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.
Apparently, a judge in Detroit thought it was okay to make a 16-year-old girl on a field trip with a nonprofit organization put on a jail suit and handcuffs to teach her a lesson.
Maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
Detroit nonprofit took some kids on a field trip. They ended up in Judge Kenneth King's courtroom, and one of the girls, a 16-year-old black girl, fell asleep in the courtroom, and he didn't like that. So he made her wake up and scolded her when he thought it was a lesson to take this young girl, traumatize her, possibly force her to take off her clothes and put on jail clothes, and present her in a courtroom in front of her peers in handcuffs and question her and berate her about her behavior, which he perceived as disrespect. It's just trash. It's trash. And whatever happens to Judge Kenneth King, he deserves whatever happens to him. I hope it is equally traumatizing, equally embarrassing, and I hope there's an equally lingering effect. And then he justified it.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids to make sure that they don't end up in front of me So that was my own version of scared straight.
You didn't scare nobody straight. You made a parent upset. You scared my child. She was nervous, didn't even know how to act. She'd never been inside no courtroom.
Since then, he's been removed from the bench temporarily, I guess, and is probably pending some kind of disciplinary hearing. And here's my thing. Whatever happens to him, he deserves it. And it should include some sort of training or forced understanding about what the school to prison pipeline is. According to the family, they are unhoused. And that's why she was so, it would have been an opportunity to be insightful and figure out what could have been wrong and why she might have been asleep in the courtroom. He took as a personal blow to his ego. Now, I knew this judge looked a little familiar to me. And it dawned on me as I was watching the video that I remember this judge threatening a couple young lawyers, and it went viral on TikTok. Because when I first saw it, I was confused about what the attorneys were doing wrong. It was clear that there was some kind of back and forth that was not caught on video, and the judge's response just seemed very egotistical to me. This is what he does. He tries to force and threaten people into submission. Legally, in Florida, when the police put somebody in handcuffs and they move them, they transport them from one place to another, they're under arrest. And I wonder if there's anybody in Michigan that is willing to argue that this girl was arrested without cause, because I'm struggling to find out where he had the authority to arrest her for falling asleep. I'm struggling to find that. I don't even I don't even think that this is a contempt issue, quite frankly.
I know that I did not just watch a fucking judge tell a 15-year-old girl on a field trip, I'm going to put you in handcuffs, get you a uniform, and put you in jail? On a field trip? A 15-year-old girl? Then he does this fucking interview and says, well, I felt compelled to do this because it was like my own version of scared straight. What? He said, was I actually going to do it? No. Could I have? Probably so. What? I'm sorry, Your Honor. What the fuck do you mean that you could have put her in jail? Because she fell asleep in your courtroom on a field trip? A 15-year-old girl? She wasn't in court. Like, what? Your Honor, what the fuck do you mean that you could have probably put her in jail for the night? What the fuck do you mean?